Meghan Markle has been caught lying about media coverage, her wedding, and even giving birth to Archie. So here's our list of the top 10 times Meghan Markle's lies got debunked. Starting off, we have she paid for school herself. Now, Meghan claimed that she paid for her own university's tuition fee through part-time jobs, scholarships, and hard work. But Meghan's half-sister Samantha revealed in her memoir that Meghan got whatever she wanted and needed from their father as a child. Samantha said that her sister became more demanding of Thomas as she got older. He was paying for Meg to get a great education, and instead of showing gratitude, she was belittling and controlling, Samantha wrote at the time. Next is the flight. Meghan and Harry said they'd buy Thomas Markle a first-class ticket from Mexico to the UK on Air New Zealand. Due to everything going on with the press, Harry said, "We told him get out of Mexico right now, a new level of harassment is about to rain down on you, so come to Britain." Now, on Air New Zealand, first class booked and paid for by Meg. Now, this doesn't sound like a lie, but an Air New Zealand spokesman said the airline has never operated flights between Mexico and Britain, and that they only offer business premier fares, not first class. Now we have the newspaper. During a visit to London in November 2016, weeks after she was revealed to be dating Harry, Meghan walked from Kensington Palace to the nearby branch of Whole Foods. Now, the prince says that she queued at the checkouts, and before her were rows and rows of magazines and newspapers, and on all of them, under the most shocking and disgusting headlines, was her. But for the headlines on the day in question, November 10th, Meghan did not feature on a single front page. Now, even if she had, she wouldn't have seen them at Whole Foods because they don't sell newspapers, and the only magazines it stocks are specialist lifestyle publications. Now, I can't even think of a logical explanation for this other than them lying. Moving on to the lawsuit. In Spare, Harry complains that Meghan's lawsuit against the Mail on Sunday, which they announced in October of 2019, was barely getting covered at all in the newspapers. He said the lawsuit wasn't as covered as widely as, say, Meg's daring to shut her own car door. In fact, it was barely covered at all. Nonetheless, friends took note. Many texted, "Why now?" Now, this just isn't true though, because the media actually heavily reported on the lawsuit. Now let's talk about lying about birth. The palace announced that Meghan had gone into labor after she had given birth and was already at home with Archie. Now, Archie was born at 5:26 in the morning on May 6, 2019, but the palace didn't announce anything about the birth until 2 p.m. that afternoon. Then Meghan and Harry didn't fulfill the tradition of taking photos with Archie just hours after he was born. Then there's privacy. Meghan and Harry went on and on in the media about how bad they wanted their privacy and stated that was the reason why they left the royal family. But the pair then went on to do a bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey, had a 6-part docuseries with Netflix, and then Harry came out with a memoir. On to the fight. Meghan and Harry claim that William attacked Harry in the kitchen of Nottingham Cottage in 2019 and that he fell on one of the dog's bowls, which cracked due to it being ceramic. Now, there are two holes in this story. The first is that Harry and Meghan were not living at Nottingham Cottage in 2019. They were living at Frogmore Cottage during this time. They were, however, living at Nottingham Cottage in 2018. And finally, the dog bowls were metal, not ceramic, as shown in photos that were taken before the alleged fight. Now we have that she didn't know about the royals. When Meghan and Harry got engaged in November 2017, she claimed she barely knew who he was or his family was when they went on their first date. But Meghan had written about Prince William and Kate's wedding on her blog The Tig, and her friend said she was fascinated by both the royal family and Princess Diana and had aspirations of being Princess Diana 2.0. Next up are Archie's photos. Meghan suggested that if her son Archie had gone to school in the UK, he would have been hounded by the press and paparazzi. However, there are strict rules governing the press which prevent photos being taken of children at school, so this wouldn't even be possible. And finally, we have the secret wedding. In the Oprah interview, Meghan claimed she and Harry had a private wedding without witnesses 3 days before they exchanged vows in front of the world. It was just them and the Archbishop of Canterbury, but the Archbishop has denied legally marrying the pair, but refused to rule out a private vow swapping ceremony before their televised wedding.
You've had the Duke and Duchess of Montecito running around like a rival royal family, trashing their family, trashing the monarchy, but wanting to exploit their royal titles. I think it stinks.
Meghan Markle has been praised as much as she's been hated. So with that in mind, here's a list of 5 celebrities who called out Meghan Markle. Piers Morgan is probably Meghan's biggest hater. He's always talking negatively about her. One of the most savage things he said about her was when he called her interview with Ellen DeGeneres vomit-inducing. Writing in his newspaper column, the former Good Morning Britain host ranted, "Meghan has the best of all worlds. She gets to exploit her fancy royal name to make hundreds of millions of dollars, doesn't have to do any work for the institution that bestowed it upon her. It's free in her head to publicly abuse the royals as a bunch of heartless racists and can live the life of a fabulously rich celebrity who pops up on TV chat show sofas to promote her new brands." Not to mention, once while live on air, he called out 17 things Meghan lied about. Piers claimed he uncovered so many whoppers in Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's Oprah interview that he couldn't believe a word she says. Comparing her to Pinocchio, Piers told Fox Nation's Tucker Carlson that there were a lot of disingenuous falsehoods, exaggerations in the bombshell Oprah interview, of which he claims 17 have now been proven to be either completely untrue or massively exaggerated or unprovable. Yeah, he is a real-life hater. Wendy Williams told her viewers that Meghan Markle will regret cutting off her dad Thomas from seeing his 2 grandchildren. Wendy supported Thomas when she spoke to the press, claiming, "I'm Team Thomas on this particular thing. He's an old man, he's apparently not well, he goes in and out of swollen ankles, he doesn't look spry at 76. He's got 2 grandchildren that he's never met. Meghan does not have to accept him all the way in her family, but maybe a little hideout one day in Malibu and invite him over with no press involved." Now this is actually nice, especially coming from somebody like Wendy Williams. British business magnate and TV star Lord Alan Sugar weighed in on Meghan's mental health claims, saying that he did not believe her in what he's been calling a car crash interview with GB News. Buckingham Palace and all these places where they live, doctors are visiting privately every single day of the week, so if she had something wrong with her, I'm absolutely sure the psychiatrist or whatever could have come and visited, no one would need to know. I should imagine the Queen has had many visits, and indeed some other members of the family have had many visits from doctors. They're very private and confidential and very carefully conducted. For that reason and that reason alone, I don't believe her at all. Megyn Kelly is a political commentator and talk show host, so of course she had to talk about Meghan. After their interview with Oprah aired, she tweeted, "M&H pretend that no royal has had it worse in the press than they have. Give me a break. Have you ever seen such privileged people wallowing in their own perceived victimhood like this?" She didn't stop there though. On the Good Morning Britain TV show, Kelly claimed Meghan was completely unaware of how her revelations to Oprah would be perceived by viewers. The interview was peppered with compliments of herself, while she was making complaints that would be totally unrelatable to 99% of people. British media personality and controversial commentator Katie Hopkins made several hateful statements over the years, so much so that she was permanently banned from Twitter for hateful conduct. Now Katie thrived off mocking and bullying the Duchess, even going as far as spoofing one of her interviews by dressing up as her. The Mirror reported that Katie appeared in an interview for a Channel 9 documentary about Meghan and called the Duchess of Sussex the biggest hypocrite there is, accused her of not being fashionable, and complained about her beauty. When Prince Harry and Meghan announced their step back from their senior positions in the royal family, Katie slammed the Duchess in a video saying they enjoyed their fabulous wedding where Markle got to be the center of all attention. This is classic Meghan Markle and something that many of us said would happen all along. We could see trouble coming a mile off. This woman has always been absolutely desperate to be a celebrity.
Why Meghan may be bracing for a new wave of negative headlines.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry decided to leave the royal family in 2020, and since they've exposed all of the royal secrets in interviews and in documentaries. Now, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been given dire warnings to not abuse the trust they were given when they were informed of the Princess of Wales cancer diagnosis, a royal expert has claimed. Author Tim Quinn said that since stepping down as senior royals, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are no longer in the primary loop, meaning that when something is about to go public, they are either told or not told on a case-by-case basis. Now this means that they are not automatically included in announcements. The royal expert said there is a feeling within the royal family and Kensington Palace officials that Meghan and Harry have to be very carefully managed as they can't be trusted. Now the author's comments came amid speculation that Harry and Meghan were not given an advance warning of Kate's diagnosis. Now this makes sense though because they always speak out about what's happening in the royal family. Now over the years, Meghan has spoken out about some experiences she went through which the royal family didn't like. Also, there have been some damning stories about her that she's denied, but it all proves to be real. For example, when Meghan was a working royal, she was accused a lot of being a bully and bullying staff members. Now Meghan denied this, but many people came forward. Speaking to Valentine Lowe and Kieran Southern in The Times, Times, the unnamed former employee, who is among staffers who signed confidentiality agreements, stated, "The only way to end it once for good is for us to be allowed to speak and for the palace to firmly reject their lies," referring to Harry and Meghan. Now, the individual claims that they have been bullied by the Duchess during their time as a working royal, leading to a review conducted by an independent law firm, although the results were not publicly released by the palace. Now, Harry and Meghan have consistently denied allegations that Meghan has bullied staff. The former aide spoke to the newspaper on the condition they could remain anonymous due to being angered by the two Harry and Meghan trailers. They said that the palace should step up by lifting the non-disclosure agreements and should publicly respond to the couple's attacks. They added, "It's emotionally draining, it feels like there's no end to it. I certainly have chosen to remain silent out of respect for the crown, but if they keep attacking us and our characters, reputation, etc., we need to feel that we are equally supported by the royal family." Now, they're not the only one who spoke out. As you see, another staff member claimed that she was harassed by Meghan when she was out for dinner. She said every 5 minutes she would receive calls from the Duchess, which went on for days. Now, Meghan's PA, Melissa Tubati, also resigned 6 months after the royal wedding. Then, Meghan's private secretary, Samantha Cohen, a senior in her work, was also subject to Meghan's bullying. Now again, Harry and Meghan have consistently denied allegations that Meghan bullied staff. Now, not to mention, it's been claimed that Meghan has spread lies about her time being a part of the royal family. You see, Ashley Hale is Meghan's niece and the daughter of her estranged half-sister, Samantha Markle. Meghan said in the 3rd episode of her docuseries that the guidance at the time was to not have her come to our wedding because the very small comms team couldn't wrap their heads around it. And I have compassion for it. How would we explain that this half-sister isn't invited to the wedding, but that the half-sister's daughter is? I was in the car with H, I had her on speakerphone, and we talked her through what guidance we were being given and why this assessment was made, and that's painful. Now, in regards to this, that just didn't happen, a source said of the Duchess's allegations. We never gave any advice, steer, or guidance on who of her family or friends should or shouldn't come to her wedding. Similarly, sources have told The Sun that the press team was desperate for Meghan to have more family and friends at the wedding, with one source saying that the former blogger's allegation was a complete lie. Meghan said she didn't want Ashley exposed to the media. Meghan Markle has done a lot of embarrassing things over the years, so let's look into the embarrassing moments that ruined her career. Now, starting off, we have her Ellen appearance. In 2020, after their royal exit, Meghan went on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She participated in a segment where she was supposed to be pranking local vendors, though many people think the prank was on her. She wore an earpiece and could only say or do what Ellen told her to do. Now, it included strange behavior such as rubbing crystals on her head, calling herself mommy, eating like a chipmunk, and singing. Now, it was truly embarrassing for her, and I personally think Ellen took enjoyment in it. The clip was posted on YouTube with fans and foes commenting things like, "It's lovely to see rich, wealthy people humiliate one another for the public. This should become a regular affair, and I hope those vendors got their money's worth." Another said, "Not sure what Meghan thought she had to gain from this." And finally, "I can't believe this is actually happening," which I agree with. It's just super weird and awkward, and I can't believe Meghan agreed to do that. Next up is the Prince Andrew mistake. Writing in his memoir Spare, Prince Harry recalls when Meghan met the Queen, and the Duke of Sussex tells how Meghan mistook Prince Andrew for the Queen's personal assistant. He said, "She definitely hadn't Googled us," as he retold the encounter. Now, meeting your partner's family for the first time can be an extremely awkward and uncomfortable situation, which is probably amplified when they are the royal family. Now, Prince Harry has revealed that Meghan went into meeting his relatives somewhat unprepared. Now, Harry has documented his wife's first meeting with the Queen at the Royal Lodge in October 2016, and he wrote, "After a moment, Meg asked me something about the Queen's assistant. I asked who she was talking about. That man holding the purse. The man who walked her to the door. That wasn't her assistant. Who was it?" Now, Harry quickly prompted her that it was in fact his uncle, and told Meghan that was her second son, Andrew. He then wrote, "She definitely hadn't Googled us." Then there's Meghan curtsying to the Queen. In episode 2 of their docuseries, Meghan retold a story about how she had to curtsy for the Queen. Harry said, "My grandmother was the first senior member of the family that Meghan met. She had no idea what it all consisted of, so it was a bit of a shock to the system for her." Now Meghan said there wasn't like some big moment of now you're going to meet my grandmother. I didn't know I was going to meet her until moments before. We were in the car and we were going to Royal Lodge for lunch, and he's like, "Oh, my grandmother's here, we're going to meet her after church." And I remember we were in the car driving up and he's like, "You know how to curtsy, right?" And I thought it was a joke. Harry then said, "How do you explain that to people? How do you explain that you bow to your grandmother and that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American? That's weird." Meghan then chimed in saying, "Now I'm starting to realize this is a big deal. I mean, Americans will understand this. We have medieval times, dinner and tournament. It was like that. I mean, I curtsied as if I was like," and then she then bent down low on camera and swept her arms out wide and laughed as Harry looked at her awkwardly. Now the curtsy was definitely awkward, and comparing it to medieval times is just yikes. And finally, there's the potential memoir. There have been a lot of rumors that Meghan is working on her own tell-all memoir. However, one expert has warned that it could be damaging for her career. Now, the Duchess of Sussex is yet to confirm any plans to write her own book, but it's thought that she'll be following in the footsteps of her husband Prince Harry, who released his bombshell memoir Spare in January 2023. Entertainment commentator Mark Boardsman said that the former actress would create a massive seller worldwide if she released a memoir, but he said it wouldn't be without risk. Now when Harry released his book, he received mixed reviews. Spare featured a number of dramatic claims about the royal family, with Harry opening up about the death of his mother, Princess Diana, and his broken relationship with his brother, Prince William. While it did break the Guinness World Record for the fastest selling non-fiction book of all time, sources have also claimed that Harry was shunned by his family and friends in the UK following its release. Mark said Meghan will have to learn from the feedback from Spare. Now he also suggested that Meghan's memoir could ignite a new wave of controversy in her and Harry's feud with the royal family. So yeah, if she made her own memoir, even more people could turn on her and Harry.
Meghan Markle is making waves as she's now been accused of stealing. A British author revealed she had sent a legal letter pointing out what she considered to be striking similarities between Meghan's first children's TV show and her own work, Pearl, announced by Meghan in July 2021. Now, it was a key title in the $100 million deal struck between Meghan and Prince Harry for Netflix in 2020, but now globally published children's writer Mel Elliott has disclosed that she sent a legal letter suggesting a potential infringement of copyright in relation to her own creation, a little British girl called Pearl Power. The author and illustrator said, "Meghan is a feminist who sticks up for other women, so I was disappointed and confused to see how similar Netflix proposed show Pearl was to my own Pearl Power, who had been created 7 years earlier. Of course, I can't know if anyone on her team had seen it and been inspired by it, but the similarities were too great for me to ignore. What saddened me most is that having brought the similarities between my Pearl and Meghan's Pearl to the attention of Netflix and Archewell, my objection was never acknowledged." By the time Meghan's new show was announced, Mel had already written 3 Pearl Power books published in 2014, 2015, and 2016. Now Netflix eventually dropped Meghan's show. Mel chose not to make her action public for fear of facing the wrath of Meghan's fans, but she's now decided to speak out. Meghan hasn't put out a statement yet, but a lot of people online are on Mel's side. I wonder how Meghan will try to deflect the blame this time. We have a new development in regards to Michelle Trachtenberg's passing. Many people were shocked when the actress passed away and wanted to know what happened. 2 months later, we finally now know what actually happened. Michelle is said to have passed due to complications from diabetes mellitus, according to a statement from the New York City's Office of Chief Medical Examiner. Prior to her death, Trachtenberg underwent a liver transplant, which some people might have thought played a role in her passing. Michelle's cause of death was classified as natural, medical examiners said in their latest report. Her passing is just so unfortunate, and her fellow celebrities have made many posts to honor the star. It seems like Kim Kardashian will be making her debut on the big screen soon. It was announced that 1992 blockbuster The Bodyguard was being remade, and a lot of people were saying that only Taylor Swift would be able to play the role. But now it's been revealed that it will most likely be Kim Kardashian. The Mail on Sunday has learned the script has been specifically tailored to Kim. A source revealed everyone immediately assumed Taylor would get the lead, the role played by Whitney Houston in the original film, because The Bodyguard remake is being directed by Sam Wrench, who directed the 2023 film about Taylor's Eras tour. But Warner Brothers, the studio remaking the original, is very keen on Kim. There have already been multiple meetings and the script has been written with Kim in mind. Apparently they don't want the film to be a musical again, but make it more of a drama, which makes sense because Kim cannot sing. Now, if this is confirmed, I think a lot of people on the internet will be up in arms, and people haven't been too receptive to Kim's acting. She also only has, I think maybe one credit to her name. The people making this movie should go with a better, well-established celebrity, not just handing it over to Kim. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens, but I definitely think Kris Jenner had something to do with this. Even more celebrities have been speaking out about the Blue Origin flight to space with Katy Perry and Gayle King. Jessica Alba spoke out saying, "I've seen endless criticisms of 5 women doing their space thing. I can't see how it affects our lives." She then reposted a post on Instagram that said, "I wish people would show some energy and focus that anger towards fearlessly denouncing Trump's abuses of power, which do affect countless lives in the US and the world." Other celebrities have come forward condemning the trip, like Joe Rogan, saying she's basically a guru now. Rogan joked of that of Katy Perry. Now, Rogan also questioned the mission's significance, contrasting the crew's minimal training with that of traditional NASA astronauts. They essentially got to the threshold of space. How great is it that they just get called astronauts? Jessica Chastain then tweeted a link to an article about the flight titled "The Blue Origin Flight Showcased the Utter Defeat of American Feminism." Now, it's safe to say she wasn't too impressed with the flight as well. Justin Bieber has slammed recent reports claiming he is broke through a statement released by his team. The statement was in response to the Hollywood Reporter article published in which a former employee on Bieber's team claimed the star was millions of dollars in debt after he canceled his Justice World Tour after multiple postponements due to health issues. Now, the source alleged that when Bieber announced in February 2023 that he would be canceling the remaining tour dates, triggered a series of financial consequences that are still plaguing the artist today. But in a statement about the story to Us Weekly, Bieber's team denied, these allegations. He said, this is just clickbait stupidity based on unnamed and clearly ill-informed sources. Disappointed that they no longer work with Justin, and the statement read, "Any source that is trying to sell you a story about alleged financial distress either doesn't understand the entertainment industry or, more likely, is trying to paint an unflattering portrait of Justin, which bears no resemblance to reality." Justin is also catching slack online, though, for his behavior on the weekend. Justin partied with rapper Sexy Red for her birthday, and in new footage, he greets her with a hug, and she and the rapper sits next to him. Now, Justin plants a big kiss on her cheek as she flashes a massive smile. Many people online are saying he looks happier in that video than he ever does with his wife Hailey Bieber. Why does he look happier with her than with Hailey? Now, another person said, "Never seen this man smile so hard ever." Others were disappointed that Justin would kiss a woman that wasn't his wife, with one fan writing, "Respect your wife, man." Others believe that people were reading too much into the video post, and it was obvious that things were purely platonic between him and the rapper. But compared to his recent appearance with Hailey, there is a big difference. Do you think Justin went too far, or was this just a friend thing? Kanye West and Bianca Censori appear to be back together again. Yes, shortly after the couple's Grammy stunt and Kanye having what appeared to be another mental breakdown and crash out on Twitter, reports swirled that they separated. TMZ confirmed a Daily Mail report that the pair were splitting back in February, with a source saying they'd each consulted with a divorce lawyer as they did not have a prenuptial agreement. Now then, on Kanye's new album, he pretty much confirmed it as he was begging Bianca to get back together with him. It seemed to have worked though, as they were just spotted having dinner together. Now though, an insider has claimed that Kanye and Bianca decided to make their marriage work again. The source claimed the two had done, a lot of talking and came to the conclusion that they were not ready to give up on one another. Now, I think Bianca wants to break up, but it's just not that easy. Kanye controls so many aspects of her life. The insider also alleged, she's living under this very aggressive situation. Now, she's got to run, but he's obsessed with her. It's been hard for her to get out and move around. This sounds like a very classic toxic relationship, and and I'm sure, we'll hear more about even more drama about the pair soon. Drake has expanded his lawsuit against Universal Music Group over Kendrick Lamar's diss track Not Like Us, now alleging that he was actually defamed by Lamar's halftime performance at the 2025 Super Bowl. In January, Drake sued UMG, the label that he and Lamar share, over the song, alleging that UMG approved, published, and launched a campaign to create a viral hit out of a rap track that was, intended to convey the specific, unmistakable, and false factual allegations. Now, Drake's legal team have now amended the lawsuit with new allegations claiming that the Super Bowl performance, which was the most watched halftime show ever, further solidified the, public's belief in the truth of the allegations against Drake. Not only did streams of the recording increase significantly following these two mega cultural events, but threats against Drake and his family did as well. UMG responded to the amendments by saying Drake, unquestionably one of the world's most accomplished artists and with whom we've enjoyed a 16-year successful relationship, is being misled by his legal representatives into taking one absurd legal step after another. So what will happen with this case? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.